Minecraft 1.21 is finally here, and with it comes a bunch of mods that should honestly be in the base game already. So in this video, I'll be showing you how to easily transform your game from this into this. Let's get started. So first off, of course, make sure you have the brand sparkling new version of Minecraft 1.21. Also ensure you've started the game at least once to generate the files and stuff. Honestly, I have no idea if that actually makes a difference, but I just do it anyway, you know? Next, it's time to get the base for all of our mods, Fabric. So head to the description, download that bad boy, and install it. Now reopen Minecraft, and at the bottom left here, we should see Fabric automatically selected. Start it up once again to generate the files and folders needed, and then close the game. Now we need to get all the other mods, with there being 3 separate sections in the description. The first being the must-have mods to get the massive render distance we're wanting. The second list being ones that increase performance, Indium, Noisium, and Embedium. What the fuck are these names? What's next? Balsacium? And the third list having a better terrain generation mod, which is great with distant horizons, so it's up to you if you want it or not. Oh, and also don't forget the shaders, complimentary reimagined. So once they're all downloaded, head to %appdata%.minecraft and finally the mods folder and drag them all in, except the shaders. We'll get to them shortly. Next, reopen the Minecraft launcher and head to installations. Then click edit on the top one, expand more options, and scroll down to the bottom. In here, you can change this number to increase the amount of RAM Minecraft uses. I have 32 gigs, so I'm just gonna set it to a beefy 10 gigs. Now we can click play, and once it's started up, let's head to options, video settings, shader packs, and finally open shader pack folder. This will open up a folder of which we'll drag the complementary shaders into. Now head back to Minecraft, select it in the list, and you're all done. Let's head in game and see how it looks. So first of all, you'll notice we don't see the massive render distance like in all the videos, and that's because you actually need to explore the world and render those chunks, or you can stand still and wait for them to generate. Also, right now the shaders look pretty shit, honestly. Well, compared to how good they can look. So it's time to get them fixed up and looking beautiful, and we can do that by diving straight into the settings. So you can either head to options, video settings, shader packs, and then shader pack settings, or just to make that whole process a bit quicker, you can just press O on your keyboard and that'll take you straight here, and you can then just head into shader pack settings. The first thing we're going to do in here is up at visual style. We're going to change this over to unbound. And so straight away you can see it's changed a couple of things. The first being the water. As you can see, it's looking a lot more realistic, and also the clouds. They're no longer these big puffy freaking rectangles. They're like these nice, you know, they look like clouds now. So just that setting alone has made the game look way more realistic, but obviously it's personal preference whether you want to use, you know, unbound or reimagined. So now let's head back into the settings and get started changing some stuff, with our first couple of settings being in the materials section here. So in here, we're going to be turning on rain puddles, and this just makes it so, you know, obviously after it's been raining, there's some puddles of water on the ground. Next up, we're going to head into integrated PBR materials, and we're going to turn on generated normals. And so this is basically like a texture pack that adds a bit of depth to every block and just makes them look a little bit more interesting. Now we're done in integrated PBR materials, we're going to click back, and now we're going to head into waving textures. And in here, we're going to simply just be changing the waving rain multiplier. We're going to make this 175. So before, while it's raining, the leaves are pretty calm, and this setting just adds a bit more movement to those leaves while it's raining or storming, which is a subtle change, but just adds a little bit more immersion factor. Now it's time to dive into the water settings, which is definitely my most favorite thing that shaders adds to Minecraft, which is just, yeah, some amazing looking water. And right now, obviously this does look amazing, but it can look way better. So let's get back into the settings. Back to where we were here in waving textures, we're going to click back and we're going to go into water. The first thing I want to change is the water opacity, because right now you can kind of see it's very, you know, you can see pretty far down to the bottom. If we just have a look, you can kind of still see the bottom down there. And I just feel like it's a little bit too clear for my liking. So I'm going to make this opacity factor maybe 170. And so you'll just be able to see down here, it's going to get a little bit more kind of foggy down there. Yeah, like we can't really see the bottom anymore. So if you want your water to look super murky, then you could of course just raise that setting up even higher if you wanted to. Like here is what the max setting at 900 looks like. It's yeah, pretty murky down there. But once again, I feel like 170 is a nice change. The next thing that complementary adds to the water here is this nice little foamy kind of texture along all of the sides of the water, and I just love that feature, but I feel like it isn't strong enough at the moment. So once again, back in our water settings, I'm just going to simply make that foam intensity up to 150, which is the max. And so yeah, just a simple change, but afterwards you can see it is a lot more prominent of a feature. You can definitely notice it from far away as well. And so that's it for water and actually materials altogether. And now we're going to be heading into our next section, camera. Now another water setting is actually going to be underwater distortion. We're simply going to be turning this off, and all this does is remove that annoying kind of wobbling effect over the screen while you're underwater. Next, we're going to head into color balance, and in here we're going to change change general brightness. We're going to put this up to 1.9 and then saturation up to 1.10. Another subtle change, but just increases overall brightness for a bit more realistic looking lighting, and the saturation change just makes colors pop a little bit more. Now we're all done in color balance and in camera, so we're going to click back all the way back to the main menu, and now we're going to head into atmosphere. The first things we're going to change in here is turning on night nebulae. We're going to increase the star amount up to high, and we're going to change aurora onto, every night. Why the hell would anyone want it just full moon and snowy biome? You gotta be a bloody dickhead, mate. We want to see this beautiful thing every night, so turn that bad boy on, okay? And just these simple settings make our nighttimes go from boring and dark to bright and absolutely beautiful. Now, the next setting we're going to be changing is going to affect the sky drastically. As you can see, it is very white. There's not a lot of blue in the sky here. So within atmosphere here, we're going to head to the top left one, atmosphere color multipliers. We're going to turn this on, and then we're going to head to noontime in here. And all we're going to do is turn down the red multiplier down to 0.6 and the green multiplier down to 0.9. There we go. And wow, dude, look at that difference. That is insane. It is so much bluer and just so much more vibrant and beautiful. I love it, man. All right, next up, we're in my least favorite dimension, the nether. And if you're like me and want your experience in here to be as quick as possible, then changing the visibility in here is going to help that dramatically, because right now it's just very foggy and hazy and hard to see. So back where we were here in noontime, we're going to click back and back once again, and then we're going to head into the nether dimension. In here, we're going to increase nether view limit to limitless, because we want to be able to see as far as we can. And we're also going to turn off nether storm. And now we can actually see a lot easier, and overall, it is just going to make the nether a lot quicker and easier to navigate. Now, back in the overworld, there is a setting that I would have usually turned off, but I'm going to be leaving it on with the Distant Horizons mod, just because it makes everything look way better. And so if you aren't using Distant Horizons, you may want to turn this off. So we're going to head back and now into fog, and all we're going to do is turn down atmospheric fog from intense to very subtle. So with intense, you can see it's very hazy, but also looking realistic. And with that change to subtle, visibility is a lot better. Personally, I'm going to stay with intense just for a more realistic look. Now, this next setting is going to make your worlds look a lot more realistic, especially with the Distant Horizons mod. So from the fog section, we're going to click back and we're going to head into clouds. And in here, all we're going to be turning on is cloud shadows. So before, everything is just sort of uniformly bright, which does look kind of weird, especially once you switch cloud shadows on. Now we see those clouds cast a nice shadow onto the ground, adding a lot more realism. All right, and so we're now all done with the clouds and all done in atmosphere. Let's head back, and we're now back in the main menu. Next, let's head into other. And in here, the only thing we're going to be changing is the world outline. Let's head in here. And honestly, I was debating leaving this off. I've always played with this on, and turning it on does kind of go against the realistic look that I guess I've been kind of going for. But yeah, as you can see, this overall makes everything a bit brighter and also adds a bright highlight or outline to every block, which does give it a distinct kind of style. So if you're wanting something a bit more realistic looking, feel free to skip this setting. Now for a bonus setting, as you can see, our selection outline, that little outline around all the blocks is just kind of hard to see. No matter what kind of block we look at, especially leaves as well, it's very hard to tell that we're which block we're kind of selecting. And so a really good setting to change that is actually, we're going to head into other once again, this time into selection outline, and we're simply going to change this over to versatile or versatile. I don't know how you say that word. But yeah, as you can see, this kind of just makes it a lot easier to see the outline depending on the block we're selecting as well. I mean, it kind of still sucks for gravel. But with leaves, as you can see, it makes it nice and bright. Over on sand, where the block's bright, it'll make it kind of darker. Well, in some instances, I don't really know how it works, but basically it just makes it a lot easier to see that selection outline no matter what block you're kind of, selecting. All right, and so that just about covers all of the settings for the shaders and everything for this video. If you want to watch me attempt to survive 100 days stranded on an island, feel free to click here. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next video.